Hi everyone, Aiden here with etrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Hollywood Rack's Destination e-bike rack and seeing how it fits on the back of our 2023 Subaru Outback. This is going to be a platform style bike rack, holding the bike in these trays and primarily by our frame. We've got a clamp that will open and tighten down onto the frame wherever it fits. So that clamp can be moved around this mast on the back of the bike rack here and rotate around 360 degrees to adapt to different frames. So for alternative frames, it's going to work just fine. And with a 70-pound weight capacity per bike, it's going to be able to handle some e-bikes too. That's really where this is kind of designed to be used, is e-bikes, because it also includes a ramp, which we'll check out in just a bit. The one thing you do want to steer clear of is carbon frame bikes, because frame contact is not going to be the best for those types of bikes. The other points of contact are going to be 3 wheel straps to the bottom, 1 on the back tire, and then 2 on the front tire. Those are going to hold the wheels down and in place, and also pull it down and in for a really tight fit on the rack. There is a little bit of movement just in the rack in general, not much, but the bike itself is actually rock solid, so it's great to see. If you're worried about stability, this one you're not going to have any concerns with. And this does have a tilting feature like many other bike racks on the market. And to do that, we've got a hand knob right here underneath the mast by the first tray. Loosen that up. I like to stand between the rack and the car, push that down, and then just hold onto the mast and push away from you. It's very lightweight because of where that rotation is centered at. It doesn't put a lot of that weight on you, and then the whole thing tilts away almost a full 90 degrees, giving us plenty of room to open up our back hatch and get to the back of the Outback. Now, with that being said, the tilting here is great. There's tons of room. Compared to other bike racks, this just gives you more room than most, so if you've got a heavy cooler or something and you need to get it put in the back or take it out, you're going to have great room to do so. There's plenty of room to sit down, put your shoes up, change your shoes before or after your ride, take your helmet off, whatever you need to do. You're going to be able to do it, and you don't have to worry about your bikes while you're doing it. Then, once this is closed, you can pull this back up from here, or you can push it back into place, whatever's easier. And again, it's not that heavy to do so. We don't have an e-bike on there right now, but it's easy to do with one hand, and then just tighten that hand knob back up. And that's going to hold it locked in place. You can see with it tightened down, nothing's moving there. So now we can get the bike unloaded. And to do that, I'm going to get the ramp set up. Now for our application today, having a wall, we're not going to be able to show the ramp in the proper position for this bike because it only attaches at the back of the bike. Now, when you have it expanded, it'll just slot into a tab right there, giving us a nice long ramp. And then to get the bike unloaded, just press in on the gray buttons by the straps and pull those ratcheting straps out for all 3 locations. And then with one hand on the bike, you can just loosen up the clamp by loosening the hand knob. That hand knob is lockable, so you can make sure your bikes are secured when you're not around. And then whenever it's loose enough, you can just pop it out of the way, rotate it away, and then you're free. At this point, you would back the bike off of the rack, down the ramp. To kind of show you that ramp, I'm just going to change it over to this cradle right here and show you that it's plenty wide for the mountain bike tire, and it's perfectly stable, so I'm not worried about any shifting whenever I'm moving this down. Comparing this to some other bike racks that come with a ramp, like the Yakima on-ramp, I actually like this ramp a lot better because it's wider and I feel like it's more stable. Now, the one thing I do like about the Yakima on-ramp is the ramp is one solid piece, so you don't have this extra moving part like the Destination does, and the ramp stores on the bike rack when it's not in use, whereas this one, you're going to have to fit inside the car somewhere, and remember to bring it with you. It doesn't stay attached to the rack. Now, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and grab my tape measure, and we can get some measurements. We'll start off with our ground clearance measurement. Because of the sort of reverse U shape of the bike rack, the lowest point at the back end is actually going to be on the edge, coming in right at 18 inches of ground clearance, which is actually pretty good. There is a good rise in the shank, and you do lose some of that because of that U-shape, but overall, 18 inches I think is more than enough, and you shouldn't have to worry about that driving up steep driveways and hills. For the distance added to the back, we're going to be coming in at 31 inches, right around average I'd say for most 2-bike racks out there. And if you want to leave this in the hitch between rides, you can save some space by folding it up. Before I do that, I'm actually going to just secure down these straps because they are quite long, and having them moving around freely I don't love. So personally, I just like to secure them up like that, and we can get the mast folded down first. Coming to these rubber straps that hold the handles closed. You can pop the handles open once the straps are released. Then fold the mast down, re-secure the handles, and put those straps in. The rubber straps just keep the handles from opening, just as an extra layer of security. And then moving in towards the bumper of the vehicle is where we have our pin and retaining clip right here that actually unlocks and releases the ability to fold it upright. Once it's folded, pop that pin through the newly aligned holes, clip it back in place, and we can get ourselves a new measurement from the bumper. Now sticking out 14 inches from the back, more like 15 inches to the very end right here. It's going to save a lot of space, cutting down on our distance added to the back, making it easier to pull into parking spaces, or maybe even your garage at home. One thing I really like about the shape of this bike rack is the open design in the middle actually lines up pretty well with our license plate and our backup camera. This is definitely going to obstruct the backup camera, but you still should be able to see a little bit through the middle here and maybe out the sides, but just keep that in mind. And the license plate, which I would say is probably more important, is largely visible. Your taillights are going to be a little bit obstructed on the sides, but most of the important stuff out here should be visible. And then the mast, because it is quite long when folded up, will stick up into the back window just a little bit. So for your rear view mirror, you might find that it's getting in the way a little bit, but if your Subaru is equipped with the camera on the back, you can just use that, and it likely won't be in your vision there. Moving down to the hitch, we can check out that it's fitting with our 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube and uses an integrated anti-rattle device to keep things solid in the hitch. It's tool-free, located out here on the outside, and it actually binds the hitch pin against the hitch pin hole to tighten it. And then that hitch pin is locking. Key to the hand knobs up top, so you can get your bikes locked to the rack and the rack locked to the vehicle under a same key system. And as far as bike racks go that have ramps included with them, this one is probably my favorite. The Yakima on-ramp is a worthy contender. It's a very sleek and clean looking bike rack, very lightweight and easy to manage, but I don't like the ramp as much as this one, and I think the bikes are a little bit harder to load because the mast on that one is located between the two trays rather than behind both of them. So handlebars and the pedals often get in the way. But regardless of which one you go with, I think it's going to be a solid fit on the 2023 Subaru Outback. Thanks for watching.